You are now listening to Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell, the voice for the people. Join Richie alongside co-host property damage attorney Hans Kennon as they bring light to the taboo world of big insurance companies, exposing their tactics and fighting for justice. Hear stories from contractors across the state. Contractor Talk, here to protect homeowners and uncover the truth.
All right, welcome to the show, Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell and Hans Kennon, board certified attorney. Right off the rip. I mean, even Hans is surprised. What's going on, Hans?
Hey, doing good. Glad I can make it on time today. I thought we started at 7:05.
That quick, but no. I mean, there are some commercials. You have to introduce the show, right? I mean, it is live radio here.
What's that? Live? Do kids know what that is?
What is that? 94.9 FM, 950 on the AM dial.
Remember, you used to spin the dial.
If you are listening, there is actually a phone number, and if Homeboy can get this right over here, there it is: 407-774-8255. Like I push everybody to their limits tonight. So 407-774-8255 is our live call-in number. So between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. Monday nights, you can give us a call here if you have a question, comment, concern, and your question will be, well, you'll be voiced and it will be answered. The best thing to do is to not only listen to the show. Hans Kennon gives out his phone number many times here. How often or how many board certified plaintiff attorneys do you have in your phone in case you have a dispute against your insurance company? I have a couple, but yours is right on top there, buddy. And most people do not. So, but it's a reason to keep listening to the show here. I'm feeling good about 2026. We have went through, I would suppose, a low point in consumer-friendly legislation in the state of Florida as it started to be eroded. Well, really, I started to see it as a contractor standpoint from 2019 to now in 2022 to 2023 session, which we saw in special session, where we start to see our consumer rights be eroded. And then finally, the death nail in 2023 with House Bill, what was it, 865? It's been so long. But that was the bill that took away consumer prevailing party attorney's fees in case of a dispute against your insurer. And that was in all lines of insurance. We're not talking about just property, which we talk about most about here on the show, but the auto insurance. So if you're in a dispute with your insurance company, they didn't pay the whole bill to get your car fixed, you have to now come out of pocket to hire a lawyer. You're paying the fees and costs to then find out that they were wrong. And since 1893 or whatever, there's been this Florida Supreme Court case law that gives the consumer some sort of even level playing field. It says if we're going to go against $1 billion company, then if they're found wrong, you pay the fees and costs. It just makes sense. But all that was turned on its head, all because of our bought-out governor. I did vote for him twice, so sorry about that. But and here I go complain. But he was bought out by the insurance lobby when he was running for president. That was during that time that we all got hammered with bad legislation. I know so many representatives and senators, and they were not for this. The constituents were not for this, and they were threatened by the governor, by our dictator, in saying that if you don't go my way, I think there's a song like anyways, but if you don't go my direction, I will run somebody against you, and you will lose in the primaries. And they're talking his own Republican Party. To the point to where it went from, heavy support to, oh crap, I'm scared of this guy and I have to do his bidding. And so that's exactly what happened. And so we've got Dictator Ronnie leaving, and who is coming up that would maybe be a savior to consumers in the state of Florida? I don't know. I don't think it's in the front runner, which is Byron
Douglas Davis.
Byron. Anyways, there's a guy named Byron, and so we got to get better on this one. I had it right there, and then, but anyways, he was I want to say backed by the Trump administration and seemed to be a front runner for governor. He's a Republican. And when I did look up his voting history, he is for big insurance. And so I don't see a change coming anytime soon. And that's just disappointing as somebody that is a consumer that has to pay their insurance on all lines, on auto and on home. And notice that I said I have to. Right? The laws in the state of Florida since I believe the 1970s makes you get insurance. And you can't avoid it. You can be like a ninja and be like, wah, I'm not going to get auto insurance, wah. But you can't. You can't avoid it. You saw how fast that was, Hans?
That was astonishingly
fast. You saw
fast.
that, right?
I really didn't see it. It was so fast.
That's exactly right. That's a great answer. But my point is you can't avoid insurance in the state of Florida. And whether you have a mortgage, you have a note on your car, even if your car is paid off, you still have to get insurance. But then now there's no protection for that consumer. You're limited to certain caps, bodily insurance. Then you have to have uninsured motorist and all this other stuff. To be found out that premiums can sit there and go skyrocket, and you as a consumer can't do anything about it. In property insurance, if OIR, Office of Insurance Regulation, or zero regulation, is supposed to post if there is a 15% or more increase for any property insurance carrier. And as we saw in the last several years, premiums went through the roof, and zero indication, no calls online for these public hearings, which you're supposed to have, and there's no enforcement of this. And we need a change in Tallahassee, and I don't know what the answer is yet because I'm Republican through and through. But man, I mean, these Republicans got us all messed up, right now. And so what are we going to do? Is the question. And I spoke to Frank College earlier, and he's my homeboy. He's running for CFO. That is a position that you run for. The Office of Insurance Regulation is appointed by the CFO. And so this is a very important seat in election that's coming up. And I'd love for all of us to vote for Frank College. He's running on the Republican ticket. It's coming up in November. We need to see some big change. And it's not going to happen on the governor's level is what it seems like. This Byron guy, which his last name eludes all of us, is apparently going to be a front runner with no help to consumers. I kind of see him as one of these guys. I'm like, all right, if you can get the bill to me, I'll we'll look at it. He doesn't seem like Dictator Ronnie. That's like going down there. No, you're only going to run my bills, and maybe they'll actually let the legislators legislate.
Well, it's important for the CFO position simply because it gives you kind of a fox in a hen house, or however you want to look at it. Someone to keep an eye on things. Whenever I think it applies to both parties. Whenever it's all Republican, things happen you don't know about. When it's all Democrat, it's things that happen you don't know about. But when there's some mix of party or mix of ideology, things become revealed, and light goes where darkness went before. And I think Frank would be a great someone who would be a bit of a foil to the governor and not just do his bidding as so many have come before and done so.
That's right. And it's important to oversee your own people. I mean, when a complaint gets filed against an insurer, it actually needs to be investigated.
Really?
It does, believe it that or not.
I did not know that here.
And I spoke to Frank about an hour before I came on the show, and he was like, the whole question always is to him, is like, what are you going to do? He's like, listen, man, I'm not even going to push for new legislation. The laws already exist that oversee insurance companies. They just haven't had any enforcement in the last 15 years. And he's right. That regime that's been for the last 15 years has done nothing, no oversight to insurance companies. I mean, hell, look at Jimmy Petronas, who is this little fish farmer or whatever, or fish restaurant owner from the Panama City area, who got hype after Hurricane Ian with zero background, gets to be our CFO, and he raised $3.5 million by who? Insurance lobby. $20,000 from the Restoration Association of Florida, who were sponsored by the way, raflorida.org. And so you can't outnumber, outbuy, out anything the insurance companies, because they are just billion-dollar companies who, as we know, overpay their subsidiaries so they can show only a 5% or less profit as they're supposed to, as they're regulated here in the state of Florida. So we've seen the articles, we've seen everything out in right in front of our faces that show the insurance companies are bad and consumers are getting screwed, and still nothing. What do we have right now? I was looking up the bills that have been filed. There's only more legislation on public adjusters that helps scrutinize them and add more. Check this out. They have a bill that's been, I can't even talk right because I'm so mad I can't even, I got to figure out how to say it without cussing. But all right, let me do this then. There's a bill that's sponsored right now that is about public adjusters that if they can add more cancellation to it. Right now, consumer can cancel within 10 days,
right,
or 30 days in a state of emergency is what I think it's either now or they're trying to add.
Right.
And then they're trying to say now that they're trying to add a clause that if you're over the age of 65, or if we think that if it's stated that you are outside of your mindset, however it's said, or incapable of some point, then they can cancel the contract anytime. So I'm scratching my head and I'm going, so after a hurricane, you have to go around and say, "Excuse me, sir, how old are you?"
Yeah. Do you have mental capacity, sir?
Right. Do you have any
I
mental
think it's hard to close a
issues?
deal when that's a question.
Right, because then,
And then you go, "Excuse me, sir."
of course I'm out of my mind right now.
It's been great talking to
My
you.
carrier's not paying me.
Are you okay? Are you competent to sign this agreement, sir?
Right. Or it's the
great.
whole, like, now, I mean, there's also, you can't discriminate on age, right? But then they're going to be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't sign you up if you're over 65 because I want to get paid." Because the insurance company is definitely going to talk them into canceling their contract.
Oh, yeah.
You know what they're going to do. So I'm like, at any point, and I've said this before, where you think it can't possibly get any worse, it gets worse. And it just gets, and not in anybody's favor except for the insurance lobby's favor. With all of this stuff out in the papers to show they're overpaying subsidiaries, showing that they're denying 50% or more of all claims filed by the last two hurricanes, when all the attorney's fees went bye-bye and all the fines, the bad faith all went bye-bye, right? The consumer then has nothing except for, well, I tried, and even if they are successful, at the worst day for the insurance company, all they have to pay is what they should have paid on day one.
Yep.
No additional fees, no bad faith, no attorney's fees, nothing that stops somebody like, say, from Slide. I love you, Bruce. If we ever meet, I really do. But, I mean, he's getting paid $50 million between him and his wife annually. So it's $1 million a week,
right?
This guy, and he's in with all the stuff that's showing that carriers are denying more than 50% of their claims, right? I mean, you have Citizens, you have People's Distrust, you have Snake Farm, all these guys in here now. Now you've got Slide. I don't even think I have to move that name at all because they just slide everybody. Is seemingly more than 50% of all the policyholders that filed claimed after these hurricanes. And they're taking advantage of the law in the state of Florida, and they're still not giving back. What have we seen so far that says anything about premium reduction?
Zero. What words were those?
No, I mean, it's not in the dictionary in Tallahassee.
It's not in the insurance dictionary. I know that.
It's really not. And you would think that would invoke some sort of rage, and we would see some of these bills come out, but you don't. What are you seeing? You're seeing insurance lobby funded representatives and senators filing these crappy bills that only serve the insurance lobby. And I'm just tired of it. I mean, here we are in the middle of session. Session started in the first or second Tuesday. I think it was the 13th is officially started, but it is in full action and swing. And I'm not seeing anything premium reduction.
Nothing.
Zero.
Very quiet.
We're not seeing the carriers reduce rates at all. We're seeing them slow down the increase of premium raises, right? Instead of 20%, we're like 13% or something. I'm like, oh, great, thanks.
What's interesting is Citizens, though, we saw the other week, is bringing down some of its rates, and they're down to 400,000 policies from a peak of about 1.2, 1.3. But it's funny, so the company that has the worst claims record will sell you insurance for cheaper.
Wow.
So you think about that. They denied 77% of the claims, but if you want them, you can get them at a deal.
Right.
So I can just give
and they're
you
immune from bad faith, so why not?
I can just give you money. You won't pay my claim, and I can't sue you for bad faith. But I'll have insurance, so I guess that's a good thing.
It's that warm and fuzzy feeling that you have. It's that, I think I'm covered. I think I'm in good hands.
I can get no coverage for a lower rate.
I'm covered. I have the best neighbor.
And I keep saying to myself, if I was a consumer and I said to myself, what could I do to help myself in this situation? I'm going to call Mr. Kidwell. I'm going to call Mr. Kennon. But before I do that, is there some sort of way you could figure out some sort of system the consumer could use to help them with their claim? Right.
Is
that available?
Well, usually there's a profession, right? There are others to talk to, and prior to, even contractors are great to talk with. Now, public adjusters and attorneys are only ones that can give you some sort of coverage determination and answer those types of questions on coverage specifically, right? I mean, we advocate for consumers here to read your policy, understand the policy. And one of the things that Frank said that he's running for CFO is that there is a law that states that there has to be a reading competency level of a certain percentage that the carriers have to meet. And I'm like,
it better be law school, because I'm still trying to figure some of the wording out myself.
It's funny you say that, because there's a percentage, I may be getting it wrong, but I have no numbers. They said something about there should be a threshold of 45% of some sort, and the carriers rarely hit it into where it needs to be more than this 45%, and they're under it, and meaning that you have to have this college level, maybe a doctorate degree to understand some of this. And so we're at a point, and I said too, and I said, my comment was, yeah, have you ever read a Ken policy before? And he started laughing. He's like, yeah, man, they don't even know what policies they have. I mean, same year, different policy terms and that. So that's just one example of this tomfoolery that we're seeing. But one other law that is being presented that I thought was interesting is that they wanted to update the amount of years of life expectancy in your roof. And there's this thing that went around the insurance companies that if your roof is over 15 years old and they didn't have to renew you, they're going to make you get a new roof before they'll write you. Well, there's this law that's coming in, and it's to help strengthen a law that's already there that says that they cannot non-renew you if you have 5 years of life or more. And so this law kind of strengthens it and says any roof over 15 years that then has a roofing professional, which adds a couple of others to it, like a roof observer or something like that. They're trying to define others that can give this indication of life expectancy for your roof. And so then if he has 5 years or more and stated by one of these professionals, they cannot non-renew you or deny coverage for your house. And so we do have some people here that can talk about roofs. They definitely know about a lot of information about roofs. But Anoop, what's going on, man? I mean, we've known each other for a while. I'm good, man. I'm good. Yeah, there you go. Get that mic a little bit closer there. Where are you going? Yeah, we've known each other for a long time, and I know you've got a lot of experience on the roof, but you got a lot of new adventures going on today with the knowledge that you have on roofs and roofing systems. But what's going on, man? How are you tonight?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm so glad to have you on the show. And
Thank you.
And there's so much going on in this industry. As you're just kind of hearing a little recap of what's going on legislatively, and it's always a hot topic. Roofs are such a hot topic right now, man. I mean, and if you wouldn't be in it if it wasn't a hot thing, you know. Exactly. But what you got going on these days?
Oh man, so full circle, brother. So I've been in the industry since 2013. Started at J. Edwards, right, and then Hurricane Irma came through and crushed.
Changed our lives.
Yeah, it definitely did.
I named my truck after Irma.
Did you really? That's awesome. Yeah. That is awesome.
It was great. I was driving all over the state of Florida to keep up with claim volume, man. It was great.
But that was it, man. That was a storm that changed my life, man. It was perfect timing, perfect opportunity. Then led to opening up Karma Roofing and Restoration, which my buddy right here, Jensen, he opened that with me. And that was an awesome experience as well, opening up my own company and going through that experience. And eventually things didn't work out for my business. I closed it down. And I had a crazy dream in 2021 during COVID, like literally like download of like a whole business plan. And that's what I'm doing right now. And that dream's called Claim Harmony.
Nice,
so,
nice.
Claim Harmony.
Are you at a point where you can talk about it publicly? You can tell people so they don't bite it?
I can say so much. I can't, I'm not going to share workflows and the secret sauce. But,
sure.
Secret curry sauce I got. But I can explain what it is. And a lot of the things that you gentlemen were speaking about, like the policy language, that's back when we were actually able to read policies. Right now, contractors cannot interpret policies. So when we were able to, I studied the heck out of it. I learned it. I used to figure out exactly what was wrong with it. You don't have ordinance and law. For example, you are paying a ridiculous deductible, for this, for what your premiums are, stuff like that. But So Claim Harmony actually has, we built an AI kind of model inside our platform where it scans policy. There's a lot of people doing this. I've heard a few other companies doing this actually. Talked to a few insurance agencies that are building out stuff like this. So
I love how AI is doing it because they can't be held accountable. Like, oh, you're giving policy determination.
Exactly.
Oh, without a license. I'd be like, it was Google. It wasn't me.
It's so wild, man. Right. But like what it does is like it's going to read the policy when they're on the platform. It'll read it and say red, yellow, green. Actually, one of our buddies was telling me that specific, like the way I just addressed it. And I talked to a couple of insurance agencies, and they're building the same thing. So it'll scan through the policy, and if there's a red flag, something's not right, it'll let you know. If there's like a middle ground, say you can upgrade to this, and if you're good to go, you're good to go. So this is huge for our industry. As far as like, I get it, man. Like I've had clients that are like 18 years old, and I have clients that are like 80 years old. I don't think it's fair the way those policies are written. So there's some help. I think the AI agents will be an advocate for us and for the consumers. And Claim Harmony is specifically consumer based. The client consumer, whether it's a home or business, gets to come in, sign up on the platform, and this is the best part is we have inspectors come out, take pre-loss, footage of the home, inside, outside. They get into a situation. There's no arguments. If they need to file a claim, they do it through the platform. The best part is they get to choose their contractor. And there's a couple of other bells and whistles that I can't disclose right now, but I'm excited, man. Like I've always been an advocate for the consumer. Yeah.
Now, what can we do about managed care policies that exist? I mean, you have some of these carriers. Like People's Trust was the forefront of insurance companies owning their own restoration company, their own build back companies, and there's nothing you can do about it. And they kind of like snuck it in the legislation, and then we're all stuck with it. And consumers, you're like, wait, I don't have a choice.
Exactly.
So with more of those policies on the rise, and citizens then building these in their policies and then selling them on the takeout policy market. So you have like these carriers that are brand new with all these policies. I can't think of it. Half of them are brand new startup companies with these crappy policy language. Like they just started like yesterday, and they can't have a contractor network. So how are consumers going to get around that? How are you going to get around that to be able to choose your own contractor?
Well, so the platform allows you to choose your contractor, right? And so what you're saying is a lot of insurance carriers work with like third-party administrators, and they have like a right to repair, right? That's what we're talking about.
That's exactly
right. That's forcing the consumer to choose, pick the contractor that they're in bed with.
Right.
What does that do? It's a specific dollar figure, right? We're talking per square or whatever. And the contract,
it's a monopoly. It's illegal.
It is. The contractor gets more. Absolutely right. The contractor gets. He agrees. They agree. To a lesser price. It's.
And they know they won't. They won't fully pursue the claim if there's more damages there.
I've been on roofs where
if you do,
contractors involved in this. I can't name names. Nothing wrong with them. They're just trying to make a living. I get it. But to conform to that level, and I was the guy that always tried to get into that network, the pay to play, and I realized like this is BS, like what's happening, like the pricing, it just ruins like the market.
Right. It really does.
It's not fair.
It ruins contractor groups too.
It does.
I mean,
it does.
I was friends with one of the larger ones out of Orlando.
Yeah,
I'll say it now because he sold it a while ago, Baxter. But I know Dave, right? I mean, he built a very good, successful company and all that. And I saw him after Hurricane Irma, and at a trade show. I'm like, man, you must be just like, you must have gold chains out the wazoo, man. Like you must be crushing it right now. He's like, no. He goes, I've hired now my fourth or fifth girl internally to do nothing but like placing liens on homes because even the carriers aren't paying me, and he's one of the carrier bitches too. And so I'm like, well, if they sent you out, why aren't they paying you?
Right.
They're just as bad on him. And then he was, while he finally sold his company, it's like, how many times and how many bad reviews you get because the carrier underpays, so the contractor does what they pay for, and then the carrier gets mad at them, sues them, right? And then they're trying to bring in the carrier saying, well, in all this scrabbling happening, and so you end up doing a bad job for the consumer at the end of it, And like you said, you're building these bad habits. You've got contractors that are doing it for under the amount of the full scope, and it really screws the contractor that's trying to do the right thing for the homeowner, and for the homeowner to be 100% indemnified to pre-loss condition, which rarely happens today in Florida claims. So, but Anoop, how do we get a hold of you? We're going to come back from the break, talk more, but how do we get a hold of you?
You can find me anywhere on social media. Anoop Nayee is my name. Claim Harmony is the new company.
Is there a website for Claim Harmony?
It's in the works.
All right,
I haven't launched
it.
the website yet. I do have claimharmony.com and a lot of work being put into that.
All right, coming to a place near you. All
yes,
right,
absolutely.
We're going to give some thanks. We're going to talk to Jensen here as well after the break. We'll be right back. All right, we're back live on 94.9 FM, 950, The Answer, here every Monday night, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., live in Central Florida on that dial. It's that thing in the middle of your car that most of you guys who are listening on podcasts, on streaming, or watching us on YouTube don't really flip around or mess around too much with that, right? I mean, you might make fun of us and be like, oh yeah, put your little V8 in there or whatever that is, whatever those old cassettes are, but we're not that old, A, but B, right? Nobody's too old for radio here, so don't forget about us here, 94.9 FM. And that number that I gave you earlier, 407-774-8255, that's for the show here while we're live, Monday night, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Give us a call. Ask us any question that you might have, or just talk to us about any experience you might have that we can put live on the radio. And then a few days later, we're over on Spotify, iTunes, everywhere you like to stream. And then like us, subscribe us on YouTube. You can check us out there. And Hans Dapper Suit of the Week right in here. We don't have a tie assembly today, but we do have a different outfit and one for you every single Monday. So you want to come check that out on a weekly basis.
Yes, absolutely.
I love that. Is that a different handkerchief?
It is. Actually, I pulled it on the way out, and I have new shoes on, but you don't get to see those on the show.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Last week, I actually showed everyone my shoes.
Oh yeah, I remember that. And if you did not check out the show, go check us out on YouTube. We're up by now, though. But always good information and stuff like this on the show. And we're talking with Anoop here, and great idea for folks that don't understand their policy of insurance, which is 90% of people now. And apparently you have to have a college degree of a master's level or above to understand these new policies. And I beg you to go check out, or I then, if it's a truth or dare situation, I dare you, double dog dare you to go check out a Ken policy of insurance and try to then come back to me without saying the F-bomb, and mostly of like, what is this? Right? I mean, because it is worse than what they say, these stereo instructions, right, that everybody talks about. You just unfold it's like this big, and it's just like a little square, and then you unravel it. Next thing you know, it's like a huge roadmap, and you're like, what? This is what a Ken policy of insurance is. And that's not only just Ken, but there's so many policy of insurance that we do not understand. And as a consumer, I only want to know, most people only want to know, is am I covered? How much does it cost? And, they think of, I have full coverage, right? It's I'm covered for anything you would think of when you think of a full coverage policy. When you get your homeowner's insurance, you have to get this policy of insurance by an A-rated insurance company, and you think you're covered and you're paying all this premium, but you don't know what you're covered for. You don't know what your limitations are, which is a new thing, because there are caps, right? But then carriers end up finding out that to put a cap, you have to lessen the exposure. You have to lessen the liability, thereby lessening the price to consumer. So they're like, whoa, we can't do that. We can't start capping things, because then we have to start lowering insurance rates. So what they did is they started to do these limitations. Like, you're covered for this, but you're limited to 5,000. It's like, you're covered for water. Yep. Yeah. All water damages, you're covered. No problem. And then under the breath, like, for 10,000. And you're like, wait, what? What? LWD? What's that? Like, it's a load warning situation. And you're like, what? No. And then they're like, it's a limited water damage. And you're like, so, if you're not being screwed by your insurance company, then you are by your agent. And maybe because they don't understand the policy either. Right. And that's the problem, is that there's all these changes OIR is just rubber stamping up there. The Office of Insurance Regulation has to oversee the insurance company policies when they make changes, renewals, and they've just been on auto. It's like that. It's worse than the auto pen. I feel like it's been a bad like Biden administration situation, but only here in Florida in that little office in Tallahassee where it's like, bink, bink. Oh, you want to put that crappy stuff in your policy? You want to limit people to, or you do a matching situation, right? Another limitation that says, oh yeah, we'll pay for all the water damage, but we're going to limit you to 1% of your coverage A for things that match. You're like, but the Florida statute for 100 years says that I get put back to pre-loss condition, replacement cost value. Like, what do you mean 1%? 1% of what? Whatever your coverage A is, like, so they sneak these things in here and we don't know about it. So, but Anoop is as frustrated as anybody, but has a solution for this. I just talk trash in the air and hope that somebody comes up with a great solution, and Anoop has one, and it is a consumer-friendly software that is, and if you're not using AI right now, you're going to be behind the times. And really, in this fashion, if you're scared about AI, it's mostly just having things reviewed at a very fast speed. Everybody goes to Google right now to ask it a question, right? Everybody's starting to get used to that. It's backed by AI power, right? Now it goes through, and it goes through the all the internet. It goes through its sources.
Gemini.
Yeah, I love Gemini. I use it all the time, and it brings up all of the an average of those answers in a very quick period of time. It also reviews documents. It compares documents. It compares wording in it. And in your way, this is something that, and most people, even if AI is available, you have to know how to use it. You have to know how to prompt it. You have to know how to ask certain things for you to get what your desired output is. And so if you understand it, you do. If you don't, then it's like you need a software that Anoop has that's been working on that he's been working on that rolls through all of this information and gives you the caution, this might not work for you, or green light, this is a great policy for you. It hits price, it hits coverage, right? It's clear, and that's what we're all missing. It's like, I think I have coverage is what most people think, right? I mean, now you really want to know if you do have that one incident. Here in the state of Florida, it's not if, it's when we're going to deal with the claim situation at some point, right? Once every 10 years or once in a lifetime is about the average. Somebody in Florida deals with the claim, a major claim where they need to file a claim on their property insurance. So those are some big numbers to where we have to think about. It's not when, it's when your number's coming up, right? As a homeowner, welcome to homeownership, is like we just say. So, but what are we expecting, Anoop? Are we expecting a launch that maybe the insurance company's agents are going to be reviewing, or is this something that the consumers are going to be used as a tool as well?
This is for the consumer, but Claim Harmony is supposed to be an open source, harmonious insurance claims ecosystem, right? It almost sounds impossible. We know that. There's so many bad actors in the different categories, right, involved in this ecosystem. This allows the consumer to file a claim when necessary. Pre-loss, it's documented, right? Their home, business, auto, it's all documented. Say there's a loss, there's a hailstorm, hurricane, whatever. There's no argument. They get to choose their contractor, and then file a claim through the portal, right? And then this is where I really want. I want the governing bodies to have access to this, and the AI that's involved that reads through the policies and the transparency that's going from where the client files a claim, chooses a contractor, insurance companies put on notice, right? First notice of loss. Like, this has to be transparent, like within seconds, and there's no reason why it shouldn't be. So at that point, there's no in between, like this guy and that guy and this happened and that happened. It's just this is what it is. So it really helps consumers, and I think it's a beautiful thing, man. You know, I know there are a lot of third-party administrators out there. They like the Contractor Network and stuff like that. It's a good thing too. They work with insurance carriers. They have certain guidelines, and homeowners don't even know that they're even involved in these things. A lot of them don't. They don't understand it. So I'm working with insurance agencies as well. I talked to a few agencies, and one of them is where I got, the guy built this thing. He built that whole, the AI thing I explained to you to read policy. And part of our platform, we were already on the same, speaking the same language. And so I said, this is perfect. This is going to help everybody. So if we get the governing bodies to have access to this as well, which I want, I want the OIR to have access to this, because at that point, you know, they have no excuse. There's no excuse for policy issues and time, you know, lacking on the claim, not paying when you're supposed to. I think that it's a great thing for starting here in Florida. Like, we need this, man. You know, we are storm prone.
We need
transparency, clarity, and we need. I've worked in this business and I've seen people get sued left and right. Right. I never started off in the industry that way, and once I started to learn what's happening, I realized, like, these people pay premiums all year for years and years and years. A storm comes, something happens, and I hear I hear stuff from adjusters. Like, I've heard this, right? Like, there's a system, there's a secret system, or there's this. Oh, like, for example, I've heard this before, right? I'm not naming names, but like the 9th claim out of whatever number gets denied or something crazy, right? It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, let's get real. Let's get back to, like, taking care of people. That's what, like, all these businesses, like, you're taking money from families to cover their property or their vehicle, and then when they get into trouble or something happens, a storm comes, all of a sudden you're not there, right?
Right.
And I got so sick of watching that happen, and I really believe that we can do it, man. Like, build a true harmonious ecosystem. And I'd love anybody that wants to come reach out to me, reach out to Richie. Let's go. You know, like, I'm an advocate for this, and I think that getting the right people, the right mindset together, and understanding that we can all do this together. Right. And we can. And it's one thing to, to have this. We have to have the agents really find this as a tool, and it should help them give better advice to the insureds, because or the clients, really the customers that need to be insured, so they're getting the right policy, because most people are just wanting price. That's why Citizens blew up, right?
You know, because they had a lower priced policy and people didn't care.
Exactly.
They're like, I just want to get it. The prices went so erratic that now it's an affordability issue.
Yeah, exactly.
You would love to get the Chubbs of the world, or whichever, insurance companies that are known to take care of their insureds, right? But look at what they have to charge for that, right? I mean, we're talking about something that's 5 times the amount of what somebody can afford, and so they're left with the choice of, like, Citizens, or I hate to say it, even like a surplus lines, offset company, to try to give them coverage, which is not, how we say, under the state of Florida statute. So it's even less control you have over that type of carrier. So really understanding what you have, what the value of that is, what you're covered for, what you're not covered for, what your limitations, what your caps are, very, very important.
Exactly.
For sure.
And we are working with insurance agencies. I've explained this to a few agencies. They're excited. How there's so much value that's added to their clients.
They're liable, because if they've explained a policy wrong and somebody then has a dispute, they could be inside that lawsuit in case of a dispute. And nobody wants unnecessary litigation. Except for Hans Kennon.
Only necessary.
Only necessary litigation. That's right. All right, this is our short break right here. So if you're streaming, and so you'll hear us re-enter again, that's blah, 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 but that's fine. But what was I going to say? You guys are Gen X's, so it's no big deal. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. All right, we're back live. Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell, 94.9 FM, 950 on the AM dial. And I misspoke. It was really the Gen Zs that I was talking about. Those the young folks that I think really are just in this new era of, I think I've like fallen to this world of, like, everything is kind of like right there in front of me. Everything's just easily accessible. And so maybe that's just my personality, but anyways, whatever. But, this is so well needed. We're talking with Anoop here, Claims Harmony, and talking about, the way I see it, is transparency. I'm thinking about, like, how can I quickly understand what's in my policy of property insurance or auto insurance? What am I insured for? With what coverage do I have? Is this a good policy for me? Does it work? And Anoop, you've been frustrated over this, right? I mean, we all want this quick, type of easily reachable, easily to understand type of scenario, and we've seen the opposite in these policies of insurance, right? We've seen it become more complex, more difficult to understand, And then the only way to understand it is have a jury or a judge tell you at the end of all this litigation, just to find out, was I covered or not, right? And if I was, how much, right? And can I be put back to a pre-loss condition? And so I bring this back over to you, Hans, where this is what you do for a living is review policy. Yeah. And help people achieve what they should have gotten to begin with. But how have you seen the landscape change over the last year or two?
Well, I mean, talking about claim harmony real quick for a moment. I remember when Carfax first came out, right? And car dealers hated Carfax because it was transparent. It revealed things that people they didn't want you to know. For me, the claim harmony product would be ideal. That eventually the agent would not be, oh no, they got claim harmony. He would say, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I ran it through claim harmony, and this is what it told me. And so like today, when you go buy a car, the first thing they want to do is show you the Carfax. They're like, hey, I got a Carfax. The car's great. Where 10 years ago, they're like, oh man, the dude's showing up with a Carfax. I'll never sell this car. And what it did is it helped weed out bad actors and bad cars. In the same way, I think claim harmony has the potential to have insurance agents say, I did this and this is good, as opposed to saying, oh, here comes Mr. and Mrs. Smith. They got that claim harmony document. No, what's going to happen? You can use it as an affirmative thing as opposed to defensive. And I think that's a big deal for that product. And we have seen a lot of folks, seeking policy interpretation. And the reality is that there's a famous case that says you shouldn't have to be the quintessential Philadelphia lawyer to understand an insurance policy. Philadelphia lawyer is simply being someone who's kind of a slick. It's a term from probably the 1920s, but the same idea is that these things are hard to understand. I mean, I've been doing this for 30 years, and I still stop some days and go, "Huh, wonder what that means," and you don't know. And I mean, every point of a policy does not go through litigation or through the appellate process. So a lot of it still is you got to try to figure it out. And I think AI is certainly a tool that people have to be careful with, especially on the law side, but it gives them something they can work with and something perhaps that will assist them getting better policy. Most insureds look only at the value of the home, the coverage A. What is that number? And I always tell people, well, the fact you have $500,000 worth of coverage A means you're never going to get it unless your house burns down. You're never going to get close to that number. I always talk about, and when a citizens mediation I have, the citizens guy always tells my client how much coverage he has. Sir, you have $500,000, and I'm like, but he can't get it. He can't. It doesn't matter. Under the valued policy law, unless that home is a total loss, you're never going to see that kind of money. But I think Claim Harmony is sounds like a great product, a great place to start. Give people some insight as to their policy, and because that'll be helpful because we can all use better information.
Absolutely.
It's free. Consumers, there's no cost to it. Doesn't make sense. Like if you want to join the platform, right, when we launch, you can put your policy in there and just have it scan it, and you'll know right away if there's an issue. And guess what? You get to you have a harmonious ecosystem in the works that's going to back you and help you the whole way.
Yeah, that's great. It's great, and hopefully there would be. Hopefully there would be an answer from the insurance companies where they would start providing these types of policies that they would feel proud of to be on the platform and even advertise this and say, listen, this policy is built for you because we want you to be first, the consumer, right? We want you to understand what you have. Yeah,
the insurer becomes the car dealer. In the Carfax thing, the insurers start going, hey, we've run this through Claim Harmony already. And even they're going to tell you whatever we want to, whatever
the green light. It's going to give you the green light to buy the policy, or as approved, or 5 stars, or thumbs up, or whatever it is. That it's been backed by this service, which is pro consumer, and we how we want to say encourage pre-loss photos. Pre-loss documentation and such like that, which carriers don't, because they like that ambiguity. Sure.
All right. As soon as the consumer joins the platform,
it's like continuity.
We send somebody out, right? As soon as they join the platform, we send somebody out, document the roof inside the home, right? So they know, everybody knows this is it. It's all time stamped, right? In the system, and that's shared with the carriers too. So I think the carriers also win, because I've seen in my history in this industry where there was pre-damage from, there's some stains in the
Damage from a
ceiling. Guess
previous
what?
storm
And then
or-
an
yeah.
adjuster comes in, independent adjuster. He wants to make some extra money. This is what I hear. This is what I hear allegedly, right? And oh yeah, sure. That's from the storm. And guess what? Now
Right.
the carrier's paying so much more for this. So this doesn't. That's why it's a harmonious ecosystem. The carrier should want to love to be a part of this because
Right.
we're helping them, definitely helping them. They see that we're taking the time to document this for their policy owners, right? Policy holders. And I think it'll work, man. There's a lot of stuff that needs to change here, and we have the right people in place. You guys are advocates of it. Let's keep going,
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. And you have Jensen here with Midas Roofing with you, and I love the name. Beep beep. Also, how would you benefit from this potential legislation in the state of Florida if it already allows roofers to give this 5-year or more, but if it adds like roof observers or it adds more strength to, hey, I can then seek your service to give me it may come with an estimate or it may come with some sort of how much life do I have on my home. And again, I think that might start with an estimate, but yeah, tell me a little bit about you and your company. Do you offer free estimates, and where is your service area? Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure, yeah. We Midas Roofing and Construction. Our service area is really all of pretty much greater Central Florida. We we pretty much go from coast to coast here in Central Florida, and we to get with Anoop contact me about claim harmony and kind of the idea that I love that what we were trying to convey here and what we really stand on at Midas is he was asking me, he says, Jensen, I'd like you to be kind of a founding member of the contractor network here. And what he was looking for is a network of trusted contractors. And he says, I know that you're doing, you know that you're doing things the right way. I know that you're, you say what you do and you do what you say. And that was kind of how we reconnected again, over this idea. But what was your question again?
Now, yeah, you hit a lot of them right on the head.
Sorry.
That's great. You're doing great. And so, I kind of wanted to bring in some of the, because we have a good 5 minutes left, but I wanted to bring in some of those topics from the show is like some of these changes that are being made here in the state of Florida. How can we help consumers? So I wanted to touch on a little bit about that and then hop back to if you're offering, does that turn into, let me document your home, let me give you an estimate on stuff that might be damaged, and if you're in this network, then you are documenting, right? You're taking photos, and for somebody like me, I want to have an estimate too, because if there are 1 or 2 shingles or 1 or 2 of my tiles that are off before the storm, I want to get that fixed, and I want it documented that it's fixed by a licensed professional roofer. So I know that wasn't a question; it was more of like just more statements. But jump in there, fill me in.
Yeah, I will say that one of the unique things about being a roofing contractor is probably 80 to 90% of your clients don't know that they actually need your help, right? That's no one gets on their roof, right? And so they don't.
They
know.
get a letter,
Yeah, they might get a letter,
exactly.
and sometimes for some of us, frequently those letters are actually good for business, But I can't tell you how many times we're standing on a roof that is, say, it's 12 or 13 years old, in fine condition. You still do have plenty of life left on this roof, and the homeowner's sitting there telling me, well, I got a letter from my insurance carrier telling me that if I don't get this roof replaced, that they're going to drop me and I'm not going to have coverage. Yeah. And so
have you been able to help out a homeowner in that situation?
So they did include language in that last bill that said that as a roofing contractor we can give them a certified letter saying, hey, you do have more life left on this roof. But I've heard plenty of situations where the homeowner said, listen, they're not interested in that letter. They told me that that's not going to be
interested.
Yeah, that's not going to be acceptable to them.
Return
and they're telling
to
them,
sender.
Yeah, exactly. And they're telling them, hey, listen, this either you get this replaced or you go find another insurer, which we know in Florida can be quite a challenge, right? And you end up going with Citizens or whatever. But it's not fair to them. And us as a contractor, I'm not going to sit there and tell you that there's something wrong with this when there's not either. I'm going to tell you the truth. Hey, this roof, luckily for you, this roof is in great condition, and you probably have 10 more years left on this. There's quite a bit of life. But for the insurance carrier, I guess it's not worth the risk. or they're just trying to, I guess, eliminate some of their policyholders.
Right. It's really the liability, the risk that's involved, right? I mean, so what this new law is there to do is to strengthen what already exists, because that already exists about the 5 years or more. It could be an engineer, it could be a roofer. Now they're adding more types, like they've named a roof observer, and they're talking about some specialties like maybe a home inspector. Because right now, currently, like when I wanted to get my home and I wanted a home insurance and I wanted a good deal, they said, okay, I can probably get it lowered if you go get a 4-point and a wind mitt. So I called up a home inspector, got the 4-point, got the wind mitt, and I saw like a $2,000 or $3,000 a year reduction. I'm like, holy cow. You know, there's another bill that's sponsored. I don't know if it was the same one or a different bill that would give reimbursement to inspection. If you were to get that, the carrier would have to reimburse you that, which I think should be a given, because I was going to say, like, why do I have to pay for this mess, you know? But then I get a $2,000-$3,000 discount. I'm like, all right. But then I'm also thinking, well, it shouldn't have been that much anyway. So really, is it a discount? I don't know. Then I get mad again, and you know, they're but I'm still needing insurance, right? So that's the booger about all of it.
It's the law.
It is,
and we do that actually. That's part of our package that we do at Midas. Not to do a shameless plug here, but part of what we do at Midas Roofing Construction is after any residential re-roof, we actually put you in contact with a third-party home inspector, and we do a wind mitigation. That's on us. It's part complimentary.
That's
part
That's nice.
of the
It's quality
package.
control. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's quality control, and we really want to help you to lower your premiums. Now that you got the new roof, you know, get that wind mitigation, get it to your insurance company. We're trying to be part of the solution.
That would be a big reduction. Not only is it a brand new roof, and then you also get an inspection as well. So MidasRoofingPros.com. That's your website?
That's correct, yes, sir.
All right, how do we get a hold of you outside of that?
You can call me at 407-773-2866. That rings directly to my cell phone, so you'll be talking to me. And we're on Facebook, Instagram, all the social stuff.
That's right.
Yeah.
Midas, man.
Roofing,
Get the
FL.
Midas touch. I don't know if he can't say that, but I can say that. And MidasRoofingPros.com is how you can find them. Free estimates
Yes,
right
sir.
now in the
Of
Central
course.
Florida
Yep.
area. Get your roof looked at. Get a letter, man. I mean, if that's what's needed, but get a
happy to provide
professional to take a look at your roof, see what condition it is. Anoop, it's always great to see you,
Absolutely,
man.
brother.
Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you,
now,
guys.
you're going to be launching very soon. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. I
Got
love
some
it. Keep checking out
serious
for
goals
Claim
here.
Harmony. I love it. Hans, always good to see you. And,
to be
of course,
here.
your Dapper Suit of the Week. We'll see everybody next week, man. Have a good day.